This is an Algebra 2 lesson that we're going to use to introduce the idea of transformations. And to do that, we're going to go back to what we know about transformations in geometry. In geometry, we can use transformations to move a figure to different places on a coordinate plane. Two of the transformations that we're going to look at and then apply to transformations of functions are translations and reflections. In our first example, we're going to do a translation. We want to graph the image of the figure using the transformation given. And in this case, we want to do a translation 5 units right and 1 unit up. To do that, we're going to look at the vertices of our triangle, that is our figure that we're translating, and just count over 5 units to the right and 1 up. So starting with one corner of our figure, we're just going to go over 5 and up 1 to get our new point. And we're going to do that with each of our vertices for our triangle. So to the right 5 and up 1. And to the right 5 and up 1. And draw our new figure. Nice little right triangle here. Looks exactly the same as the original. It's just moved to a different place on the coordinate plane. Now we can indicate this translation by describing what happens to the x and the y coordinates. Well, each x coordinate increases by 5 and each y coordinate increases by 1. Symbolically, we can write the ordered pair xy translated by adding 5 to the x coordinate and 1 to the y coordinate. And we can also indicate this translation by just writing the coordinates of our new figure. So as we look at the coordinates of our new figure, we have our x and our y axis. Our new figure, starting with g, we have g prime is the ordered pair 2, 0. T prime is the ordered pair 4, 0. And going around, b prime is the ordered pair 2, negative 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a translation. And now let's take a look at a reflection. Again, we want to graph the image of the figure using the transformation given. This time we're going to reflect it over the y-axis. So as we start with our point here, t is 1 unit away from our y-axis, so it's going to get reflected 1 unit away over our y-axis. G is 3 units away from our y-axis. Indicate that a little bit more clearly. So it's going to end up 3 units on the other side of the y-axis. B is also 3 units away from the y-axis, so it will also be 3 units away on the other side. And we end up with a triangle reflected. The line x equals 0, or the y-axis, is our line of reflection. So what happens to the x and the y coordinates of this original figure to the image? Well, notice that the y coordinates are exactly the same. G and t are at the same height, and so is b. What's different is the x coordinates have moved to the other side of the axis. Where t was at negative 1, its image is now at positive 1. So the y coordinates are unchanged, and the x coordinates are their opposites. So symbolically we write our x coordinate switched to the opposite value, and our y coordinate stayed the same. And we could write the coordinates of the new figure. Let's take a look at what this new figure looks like. Here's the image of t, here's the image of g, and the image of b. So starting with our image of t, our image of t is now at 1, negative 1. Our image of g is at 3, negative 1. And the image of b is at 3, negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a reflection over the y-axis. Now let's see what happens if we do a reflection over the x-axis. Here's our x-axis. Again, I'm going to fill it in a little darker. And we're just going to go up instead of to the right. So our image of G, 1 unit below the x-axis, is now 1 unit above. And our image of T in the same fashion. For the image of B, which is 5 units below the x-axis, it's now going to be 5 units above the x-axis. So we have, again, our triangle. It's a reflection over the x-axis. The x-axis is a line of symmetry. So what happens to the x and y coordinates? Well, notice all the x coordinates stay exactly where they were. T and T prime have the same x coordinate, as do G and G prime and B prime. What's different is the y coordinates are now opposites. So when we write any point x, y with this reflection, the x coordinates stay the same and the y coordinates become their opposites. And we can write the coordinates of our new figure. So B prime, our coordinates are negative 1, 2, negative 3, 5. T prime is negative 1, 1. And G prime is negative 3, 1. And so those are the coordinates of our new figure. Now we don't have to do reflections over just the x and y axis. We can do the reflection over any line that we choose. For example, we can do a reflection over the line y equals 1. Well, our line y equals 1 is a horizontal line 1 unit above our x-axis. So here's our line y equals 1. And we want to use that as our line of reflection. So notice this time that our G is 2 units below our line of reflection. So we are going to go 2 units above for the image. And T is 2 units below, so it's going to reflect to 2 units above. B is now 6 units below our line of reflection, so it needs to be 6 units above y equals 1. We're going to have to go up a little higher than our graph shows, but we can do it. It's 1, starting with our line y equals 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right about there. And we have a triangle. Again, it's the mirror image of the original triangle, this time reflected over the line y equals 1. So now let's take a look at what the coordinates of our new figure are, starting with B prime, which is up here off the grid just a little bit. We go to, for our x coordinate to the left, 1, 2, 3, so negative 3. And from our x-axis, because that's our coordinate system, negative 3, up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So negative 3, 7. Now T prime, again, our coordinates is always from our x-axis. So here's our origin. Here's 0, 0. It's to the left 1, so negative 1, and up 3. So negative 1, 3. And G prime, again from our origin, negative 3, and up 1, 2, 3. And those are our coordinates with our transformation, with this reflection over the line y equals 1. Okay, one last example. In this example, we're going to go the other direction. We have here a graph and its image, and we want to describe that transformation in words and in symbols. So in this case, we see our original point z moves to z prime, and we can see that it's moved to the right 2 and down 1. Let's check to see if point I does that same thing. To the right 2 and down 1, and K also to the right 2 and down 1. So in words, this is a translation. Right 2 units, spell it right 2 units, and down 1 unit. Okay. In symbols, the point XY, the X coordinate increased by 2 and the Y coordinate decreased by 1. And that's our review of transformations, specifically translations and reflections from geometry.